Monster Hunter series has spent 17 long years since its birth, and soon the latest work, Rise, will also be released on Steam, so I also decided to rub the heat and do a Monster Hunter archaeological series. We'll be with you to see those Monster Hunter series development career. What fun and worth saying fun happened. So without further ado, let's get down to business. The first generation of Monster Hunter was born in 2004 on Sony's PS2 platform. At that time, the producer was not the Prince Ryoso Sugimoto, as we know him now. Instead, it was co-authored by Tsuyoshi Tanaka, producer of Capcom's other Ace IP series. At that time, Ryoso Sugimoto was only responsible for the operation of the network. As for why the third prince succeeded in becoming the boss, these are off topic, not to extend. Monster Hunter, from the preparation to the production of the release, took a full 3 years. It happened to be the time when MMORPGs were very popular. So Capcom saw the business opportunity and decided to launch a network online hunting game. Yes, the original intention was to make the Monster Hunt in the direction of online games. But unfortunately, because of the technical reasons, resulting in a variety of online bugs, large and small, and the network quality is also quite poor, the old hunters know all understand. So had to cut a lot of online content to expand the experience of single-player mode. I have to say there are indeed some regrets. Speaking of monster hunters, we'll definitely have to talk about the monsters that appear in this work. Not many monsters appeared in the first generation, the most famous of which is the Rat Halos couple. The Rat Halos couple is considered a very symbolic mascot in the series. Every game or all appearances can be called the model of the game industry. In the first generation, is also full of cards, directly as the cover monster shine. The strength of the game's Rat Halos is very powerful, and the current Rat Halos is completely two kinds of creatures. Of course, it should be due to the skill limitations of the reason, but the operation is very stiff, and Rat Halos such high damage, plus like to fly blind and spit fireball vicious roll. Just think about it, how painful it is to fight, as the strength of the cover monster is also naturally true to its name. Since the monster is mentioned, it is natural to talk about the weapons and equipment in the game. In the first generation there are only 6 kinds of weapons to choose from: lance, large sword, sledgehammer, heavy crossbow, 4 heavy weapons, light crossbow and one-handed sword, 2 light weapons. It can be seen from the beginning is intended to heavy weapons hunting style, designed to focus on, but probably, in order to take into account the difficulty of getting started, so add 2 light weapons as a choice. But the feeling of operation is still very uncomfortable. Not to mention the first generation, even if you look at the subsequent works, these weapons are not that can quickly become proficient in the use of the kind, and the weapons at the time did not use so many fancy derivatives. The sword cannot even store power, only a knife flat A. The sledgehammer cannot knock the monster unconscious, so the actual combat experience is very unpleasant. If you start playing from the 2G era, players okay to say. If you come from the Monster Hunter world, it is almost impossible to adapt. That is why I don't recommend you to go back and revisit the first generation of Monster Hunter. Because of the age, the function of the limitations of this work has a lot of defects and imperfections. With the current needs of the game, players can be described as a far cry. And the first generation is too hardcore and lead to poor sales, and even almost killed the future of the series. So, how has Monster Hunter changed since then to create today's glory? These will be left to the future of the Progtam to introduce you one by one. This show ends here. Thanks for you watching.